What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here. This is Elementary Season 4, Episode 21, Ain't Nothing Like the Real Thing. I don't know why it's titled that. Kind of weird. But this was another good case episode, as well as some interesting stuff going on in the background. This stuff in the background, just the tiniest bit predictable. And honestly, I have my opinions about it, and I have theories about it. I'll talk about those at the end. So I'm going to talk about the case first. You've got this double homicide that a guy who's apparently a purse snatcher has run away from the cop and then stumbles upon it. And he's like, I didn't do it. He's like, what are you talking about? I saw it. He's like, no, I didn't do that. Kind of funny that this robber just sees this murder, thinks, okay, I'd rather go to jail for the robbery. I'm gonna stop now. This wasn't me, I swear. But it ended up being a good little twisty case. You know, you've got the whole. It was a staged murder type thing. You know, one guy's setting up to make it look like he killed this guy when he really didn't. So he's gonna take pictures and make it look like this and all of this stuff and make it look like a murder, and then they both end up getting murdered. It was pretty twisty. It had a lot of twists and turns, made you really think about it, like, I don't know where this is going yet. You know, like, it was fun to see that. And not a lot of cases handle that very well. Some cases, whenever they have those twists and turns, it's like, some of them handle it in such a way that you kind of watch it and go, that didn't make a whole lot of sense. This one actually did pretty well. You know, they brought up this little thing that some cops do where they pretend to be hitmen. And so somebody hires them as a hitman to kill somebody else. This cop takes a picture of the guy that he supposedly killed, but not really, then goes to collect the money and arrests the guy for hiring him to kill the guy. So apparently this is a thing that actually happens. Except in this case, the guy who normally in the case was a cop, I don't remember his reasoning for wanting to trick the other guy. Like, they may have talked about it. I think it had something to do with the guy who wanted to run away from his wife. I think, I don't remember. Like, that's the thing about cases like this. Whenever there's so plot twist involved, it kind of gets to a moment where it's like I've lost it. You know, like, I'm so focused on, okay, so they were pretending to do a murder, but then they actually, like, what? And so now all of a sudden, like, this information is passed. I'm like, wait, I didn't catch that. I'm still catching this information. So yeah, I don't really remember. I think his name was Butch, the guy that was taking the pictures. I don't remember his reasoning for why he wanted to fake this hit that he was doing. But I remember there was a guy, the guy he was pretending to murder, had a fake name set up. Apparently he had done this before. So he had a fake name set up. He was going to move to the, like, Cayman Islands or something like that under this fake name with all of this money that he and this other guy were going to split. And so his wife found out and killed him. But once again, just like in every other case in Elementary, which is what I love about the show, it's not obvious. There's so many different possibilities. There's so many different twists and turns that it takes. Like, you think you may have a handle on what's going on, and all of a sudden this new piece of information, they find a new piece of evidence, and it's like, oh, that turns the case on its head. Now I have no idea what's going on. So it's fun to kind of figure it out along with Sherlock. You know, as they're talking, you're sort of getting the picture. So it's fun to watch. And so that, you know, overall, I would say the case was another good one. But the stuff on the outside, this is where it gets interesting. And in fact, I actually read an article after last week's 2 episodes about Watson's half-sister or whatever. I read an article about it, and it was talking about how they wanted to really focus on that for a couple episodes, but she's not going to be back for the rest of the season because the final few episodes are going to be very Morland-centered. And so after I read that, I'm thinking, okay, so we're gonna go back to that storyline. Thank goodness, because I was. That's the one thing that I've been excited to see throughout the entire season is what is going on there. Like, what is the story there? We're finally starting to get that. And so Joan is meeting with this guy that she kind of planted. He was actually already a mole, and then she ends up finding out who he is, kind of threatens him into being her mole, and so she's meeting up with him constantly, getting information from him about Morland's operation, what he's doing, stuff like that. And so he's been feeding her information, but none of it seems really relevant to what she's looking for. And I'm not really sure exactly what she is looking for, but I think she thinks I'll know when I see it. And so at one point he calls a meeting with her, and it's kind of out of nowhere, and she's like, I'm surprised you decided to meet so soon. And then he shows her, look, I started to look at these files, I started to get them copied, and then I noticed that there's an extra space here and not here. She's like, yeah, so? He's like, I started looking at them all, and the extra space is everywhere. But he knows that somebody's doing this, and he did this so that whichever one gets published to a paper, he'll know where it came from. So he's like, this is the last time we meet, I'm not helping you anymore. And so it's kind of like, if it were anybody else besides Morland Holmes, I would think the guy was paranoid. I'd be like, dude, it's just an extra space. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. But because it's Morland Holmes, I'm like, okay, yeah, I agree with this guy. Like, he probably knows something. And then he shows up in Sherlock and Jones' house, and I'm like, yeah, he knows. He knows. So he's having this one bodyguard like search Jones' office looking for something. Hang on 1 second, sorry. It's pretty late, so I'm a bit tired. But you can kind of tell that something was taken from him. Something important was taken from him, so he's looking for it, and he thinks Joan has it. So you're like, what's going on? Sherlock is slowly figuring out what's going on too. I think he noticed. He made the comment about as long as you don't get a call from an old from your mother or an old friend. So I think he realizes she's up to something. So you've got all this going on, and then I don't know how I knew, but somehow I knew. At the very end, Sherlock is on Marcus's computer doing something, and made a mention about how Marcus was away at a crime scene where this it was a shooting. It's like, so make sure you keep your phone ready. Whenever he said shooting, my first thought was, the mole is dead, isn't he? Like, I don't know why, but for some reason, whenever he said that, I thought to myself, the mole is dead. Like, it just, my mind went there. And sure enough, they cut to the crime scene. I'm like, it has to be now. That's the only reason why they would be showing us this right now. The mole is dead. And sure enough, it looks like a robbery gone wrong. 4 people were shot dead. Marcus starts identifying bodies, and the first one he gets onto, it's the mole. Like, yep, this is gonna be good. Because the thing is, this is the 21st episode, and from what I see on IMDb, there are 23 episodes in a season. I actually thought there were 24, but maybe there are 23. Anyway, that means we really are setting up for an epic finale. And I'm excited to see it, and I'm so glad how they handled it, because it's something thrown in throughout the episode. So it's they've been kind of hinting at the story, talking about it, and then having that ending just sets it up perfectly, because we've been introduced to the fact that he's dead, which means somebody assassinated him, and that's what the next one's going to be about. So we got introduced to it before the next episode. That means the entire next episode is going to be focused on that. It's set up so well, because now we don't have to open next week with this guy gets shot in a diner. We've already got that. So, sorry. Um, so it's good. It's really really good, and I'm excited to see where it's going. I did say I did have a few theories, so here are my couple theories. One, Morland Holmes really is just this evil guy, and had somebody kill this mole. Um, and it kind of feels like they're setting up for that. Like they've been setting up all season that he's a bad guy and nobody wants to mess with him. However, my other theory is that because they've been setting up so much that he's such a bad guy, I feel like it's gonna be a plot twist, kind of like with what happened with Mycroft. They set it up so much that he was like a bad guy. That he was doing something shady in the background. That whenever it seemed like he'd actually become like a terrorist or a traitor or whatever it was, whenever Sherlock showed up and said, "No, obviously you're being framed," it was like, "Wait, what? Really?" Like it was a nice little twist because once I heard that I was like, "Holy crap! Like Joan, you're sleeping with a murderer." And so it was a nice little twist to have him. Oh no, you're being framed. I was like, "Oh, okay." Now the thing is, if they did it this way to where it looks so much like Morland is the cause of this, just to have it be like, somebody is actually killing these people, but it's not Morland, and they're not necessarily framing him, but it certainly looks like he did it, but he didn't. It would feel a bit similar. Um, but I don't know. It feels like there's so many possibilities that you could do from here. Like just you could go the route where Morland's the bad guy, but nothing connects to him, so they're having to find like somebody that will testify against him. That maybe they find the guy who assassinated the mole, and now they have to work on trying to get him to admit that Morland's the one that hired him, but he doesn't want to because he's scared or something like that. They could go the route where it looks like Morland's doing it, and then they find some clues that point out, no, he didn't do it. It's somebody else entirely who actually, is against Sherlock and Joan and Morland at the same time. And then they could go the route where all the clues point to it being Morland, and then it's not Morland. But like I said, that would feel like a repeat of the whole Mycroft storyline from season 2. I think it was 2. Um, yeah, it was 2. So that would be a little bit disappointing just to see kind of a similar storyline, but not bad. But like I said, it's setting up to be really good finale. So I'm really excited to see where it's going. I'm just it really feels like no matter what they do from here, they've got a good story set up already. No matter what they do, no matter which storyline they decide to take, I feel like it's going to be good either way. So that's what's really got me excited, and honestly, that is what I love so much about Elementary, is that they managed to have such a simple concept, Sherlock Holmes in New York, and they've really turned it into a really good story beyond just Sherlock Holmes solving cases in New York. They've really grown it very well. It's been renewed for season 5, so that's exciting as well because I would love to see more of this. So yeah, it's really good, really enjoyable, and that's about all I can say about it. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. If you have theories about what's going on, whether Morland's responsible or not, let me know. We'll discuss it. Leave a like and subscribe for more Elementary, and I'll see you at the next review. Peace out.